Hey guys, what's up? So this is Krull, the movie. This is a really cool movie and a lot of people have never heard of it because actually when anybody ever talks about fantasy movies or even sci-fi movies, no one ever mentions Krull. It happens once in a while, but I think like just nobody knows about Krull. And Krull is a B movie. It's not a big multi-million dollar like cinematic masterpiece. It is a B movie, but it's a really good B movie. Like B movies that are like well done are really good movies. You know, they're B because of the budget, they're B because of the acting and like the art direction, the costumes, and all of the stuff in the movie. It's not like 100% of an original idea. It's not something that they're really able to execute in a really like stylish way. It's not something like too memorable, you know, but it's good. And it just doesn't have its ambition as much, but it's a great movie. It's so cool. The main part of Krull is the main character here, and he basically finds this glaive, and this is a glaive, and this is the weapon that he has. Now he doesn't like start off with this weapon. He finds this weapon, like someone like, he goes out to basically save his princess, you know, that's original, right? So he goes out to save the princess, and it's actually done on another planet, and I did not know it was on another planet. And seriously, I watched the movie a few times, a while ago, but a few times. But the thing is, I didn't know it was on another planet. Like, there's nothing in this to show that this was on another planet. Maybe they mentioned it, I don't even know, but it feels more like, it doesn't feel like another planet at all, because the people are human. The weapons, the clothing, it looks like a medieval fantasy. It looks just like, you know, a fantasy movie, like on this planet, or whatever. It's fantasy, so you can be on any planet you want, right? So, okay. So what's cool about this is, so this is the DVD. And I know like when I saw this, it was back on VHS. And I've never seen this in the movie theater. I never heard of it in the movie theater. It was, maybe it was in the movie theater, but it popped up on VHS, and I saw it back in the day, and I thought it was good. You know, I thought it was good, but then I found out there was actually a following to this movie. There's actually a lot of people who love this movie, and it's like one of their favorite movies ever. And it didn't make any sense that anyone loved this movie too much, or anyone even has even heard of it, because it's not anything that anyone talks about. You know, honestly, I do not know how many other people out there know this movie exists or have even heard of it. Probably you have, because you probably searched it in the search thing, or it popped up because you typed Krull into the Facebook and into the YouTube algorithm, or some kind of movie that's like Krull, you know, whatever. But it's awesome. It's actually really good. It's original. It's a quest. He's out there to save the princess, which you know, the queen, which like, I didn't actually know about that, the whole thing. It just felt to me, when I watched it, it felt to me like a quest fantasy, you know, where the guy, basically he's not just trying to like save the princess or queen or whatever she is, right? He's trying to kill this like beast monster, whatever. And, you know, and the only thing the only way to do that is with this glaive. And so he has to go on this quest first to find the glaive. And he finds it in this like volcano where there's this lava like all over the volcano, you know, like coming off the volcano. And the glaive is inside the lava. And in order to like, to have the glaive, he's got to like put his hand in the lava to pick up the glaive. And if he can't do it, then it doesn't come out. Also very much like Excalibur, where like if you can't pull it out of the rock, you know, but this is like worse. This is Excalibur Dune, where you put their hand in the box of like, you know, the witch's box and whatever it is, you know, the box of pain, whatever, you know. But anyway, but that's what it's kind of like. It's like only someone that can like put their hand in the lava and pick up the glaive can possess this glaive. The glaive is cool. It's actually an interesting like weapon. Like it actually, when you throw it, it's sort of like Xena's like frisbee, her disc, right? And like she throws it and it like spins around, right? It hits a bunch of stuff. It's like a boomerang basically, right? It spins around, it hits a bunch of stuff, and then it comes back, and then she catches it. And you know what? That is exactly what the glaive is. And I feel like, I know like Xena came after this movie came out. This movie came out a long, long time ago, and it doesn't really say where it came out, or what year, but this came out in the 80s, and Xena's from the 90s. And whenever I saw that Xena thing, I always thought of the glaive. It doesn't have spikes. The glaive has spikes. And what's cool about the glaive spikes is that they come out like a switchblade, and then they come back in. So basically, you just have this little, like, 5-thing, whatever it is, right? But then you pull it out of your pocket, and then you go ching, and then it like, the spikes come out, and then you throw it, and then like, it comes back, you know, and it's stuff. It's so cool. But it's got a lot of cool stuff. Now, the only actor I recognize in here that anyone has ever heard of is Liam Neeson. And Liam Neeson plays this guy, which I don't even know who that is. I actually don't remember Liam Neeson being really in the movie. I guess he is. The guy that you remember in the movie is the main character. Everyone else kind of comes and goes. But this guy's like, he's the main character. He's the story of the movie. Like, everything is about him. And so he goes, he gets his glaive, he puts his hand in the lava, and he just goes right into the lava. The lava doesn't do anything to him. Like, it's some kind of magic lava that just looks like it's lava, but might not actually be lava. And so he goes and like picks up the glaive, and he's like, oh, I have it. You know, like sort of Excalibur. He like pulls it out. I have the sword. And so he has his glaive. And once he has the glaive, this is like a magic weapon that sort of like you can defeat it. It's not that strong of a weapon, but it's weird in the way that that you throw it, it flies around, it blades a bunch, because it's got like 5 blades on it, and it blades a bunch of stuff, and you could like hit a bunch of like enemies at the same time, and then he just catches it, and then and you can throw it again. So that's actually pretty cool. But it's interesting that it says that it's on another planet, because you would never know. It doesn't feel like it's another planet. It feels like it's on this planet. So what it says here is like, basically on the back, journey into a mystical time, right? And place that belongs to neither the past nor the present, where extraordinary creatures and myth work their incredible magic, and where a horrific, omnipotent beast is the ruler. This is the planet of Krull. So Krull is the planet. That's what it is. This is the glaive. That's the dude, you know, right? And then basically, Prince Colwyn. Now the thing about I like the name Colwyn. It just reminds me of Corwin a lot, because it's one letter different than Corwin from the Amber Chronicles of Amber. Corwin with the main character, right? But whatever. Prince Colwyn, he's a prince already, right? So sets out on a daring mission to rescue his young bride, who is captive by the beast. But slayers and alien beings under the command of the beast oppose him at every turn. Colwyn must first reach a faraway cavern, not tavern, cavern. And there's no taverns, they're just caverns, like in this movie. Man, there's no taverns, man. What's the point of the movie? Cavern to recover the legendary glaive. The flying glaive capable of phenomenal powers. I don't really know like how many powers it has. It doesn't, like in the movie, it doesn't seem to have any powers other than you throw it, and it's kind of almost like a smart weapon, where you throw it and it kind of hits whatever you throw it at. And then it can hit also multiple targets, and then it just like comes back and you catch it. Sort of like a boomerang. And then starring Ken Marshall, Liam Neeson, blah, 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 right? So that's cool. The disc is cool. This is the special edition, which I don't know what the difference is. This is also a pretty cool dude in here. He's like a one-eyed Cyclops. That's an interesting. So there's like these little enemies there. They're pretty badass actually. These guys. They kind of like have this like cloak, this like coat, and they'll like cover the prey in the cloak and then kind of eat them while they're in the cloak, and then they open the cloak and they're just like just bones left. Like it's terrible. And so like okay, so and then there's a bunch of other stuff. Yeah. And so, okay, so it's got the insert, which looks pretty cool. This would be cool if this opened and there was a poster of the glaive, but it's not. It's only half a glaive. It would have been, like, you could make a poster, but no, they had to put, like, scene selections on the back. Like, you're gonna select the scene. I just want to watch this scene. I don't want to watch the rest of it. I just want to watch like, well, I guess you could. Like, once you have like, you know your favorite scene, why watch the whole movie? Just watch your favorite scene, right? Okay. And there's just like a couple of interesting. Here's some of the artwork of the movie. This is some kind of dome and whatever. And then this is the glaive, whatever. This is like the main character holding a couple of daggers and whatever. And then this is one of the monsters. It's just, what this is it's just a fun fantasy adventure where the hero battles monsters, possesses magical weapons. There's some metaphors in it, like the lava, sort of like the Excalibur metaphor where he pulls the sword from the stone. There's some wise people that like give him help. There's tons of monsters. He has to like battle like at every turn there's monsters. It's a constant monster battle adventure fantasy. And it's like they have the whole the plot with the bride and the beast and all that, but that's not even part. That's just like the reason for the whole quest and beyond. Like, this would have been a good movie even without that plot. It would have just been about weird monsters. I guess they're aliens because this is on another planet, but weird monsters, cool weapons, cool magic, cool fantasy adventure, cool like outfits, an adventure. It's a B movie if you guys like B movies, because there's like some people like B movies and people don't like B movies. So B movies have this like following, but like a lot of B movies is like only known by certain people, and not everyone knows every B movie has ever heard of it. This is cool, and I know like I like this enough to buy the disc. But the thing is that like I like this enough to buy the disc, but it's only because like you can't get this anywhere. Like Netflix doesn't have it. Like there's nowhere to see this movie if you want to see it. You have to buy the disc. It's never on TV. It's never on any network. It's never on HBO. It's never on like cable or Netflix or anything. It's like, it's just this movie that is there if you heard about it. It's a very, very cult following movie where like some people heard about it, most people have never heard about it, and I guess like the people with the algorithm, with the YouTube algorithm, only people like that have heard about it can actually like watch videos about it, because like, otherwise you wouldn't know to write Krull in the search engine or whatever it is. Yeah. So I mean, like, the monsters are cool because of the outfit, right? And they got the gun, right? But the thing is, what's interesting, like, this doesn't feel like a space adventure, like Another Planet, because there's no sci-fi elements in this at all. Every single, like, all of the weapons are fantasy weapons. Like, he's carrying daggers. If he was after this beast that took his girlfriend or whatever, his bride, right, and wanted to like take the beast down, and this was a sci-fi adventure on Another Planet, wouldn't they have like laser guns or blasters or something like that? No, because he has swords and knives. And then in order to actually take down this beast, he needs the magic glaive. The glaive is freaking cool. And so, yeah. And so there's like that, which is cool. There's this like cool dome going on. So I would say like also, the outfits are original. The story is fun to watch. She's not even like really in the story. Like she's like, I guess that's his bride, right? But she's not really in the story at all. Like she's like there a little bit. The story is just it's about this, as you can see, like obviously, if you look at the picture, right? If you look at the poster, the big thing is the glaive, and like everything else is sort of in the background. And that's the same thing with Excalibur, right? The big thing about Excalibur is the sword, right? If it wasn't for the sword, like who would care about the story? It's like the sword that makes the story cool. Maybe Merlin, that's the interesting part of the story. The sword, Merlin, maybe Lancelot, because he's like a really cool, like super, like he's he's like the super good guy, great, like best swordsman in the world, which is like, I don't know, it's a little bit, I don't know, whatever. It's a little bit like weird, like Lancelot. The name Lancelot is silly. I don't know. He doesn't even have a lance. He has a sword. I guess he has a lance because he has a horse, but he just uses a sword, so he should be Sword-a-Lot. But I guess, like, I don't know who made that up. But anyway, this is cool. There's this cool thing about these guys. I think it's the one of the creatures in here. I think it's these he basically belongs to a race of these dudes who are kind of cyclopsy, but something happened to them, and it's really interesting because they wanted to look into the future, to see the future, and then they went to this like creature, being, or whatever, who could grant wishes, and they wished to see into the future. And the guy that was able to grant these wishes tricked them and said, well, okay, they could see into the future, but they can only see the day of their own death. And that's really, really sad because they know like when they're gonna die, and the whole race of them, they were like ripped off from that wish. They're like, we want to see into the future, and he's like, yeah. And then now they can see the day they die, which is kind of sad. Like, that's the thing you remember from the story, because that's like so sad. That's like so sad. But they don't make a big deal out of it. They're just like, they just say it in there. But it's something that you think of, and it's like, that's really sad. Like, who would want that? That's terrible. Why would they even put that in the movie? That's just so bad. It's like, you don't even think that. It's like, But anyway, cool movie. It does say it's on another planet, but it's not a science fiction. So, which is cool, but it's not a science fiction. So it doesn't feel like it's another planet because human-looking people, fantasy-looking outfits. I mean, maybe it's on another planet, but it's completely insignificant. Like, none of it is significant. Like, the only thing that's significant is this guy, the main character, the weapon, and the journey that he goes on. Because that's where the whole story, that's where the whole movie is. All of this other stuff is just like the subplots, right? It's in the side, it's around, it's happening, but they have to put stories somewhere. You know, they have to make something else besides the main adventure to make the movie more interesting. Because if they didn't have all of these other things going on, even though they're not original, like the bride is taken by some beast who's trying to rule the planet and cause evil. It's like, that's not original, but at the time, I mean, it's a fun movie. It's like, it's just fun to watch that. It's fun to be on this adventure with the main characters. And he's not like a powerful character. Like, he's just a human person. Like, he's totally human. Like, he's not, even other like adventurers and main characters in fantasies, a lot of times they're kind of like Conan. He's like super strong, you can't beat him in combat. John Carter, he's also like super smart, super strong, you know, like when he's on Mars, he can like jump around really high and stuff. Like, a lot of characters have like they're really like, the only thing about this guy is he's basically able to wield the glaive, which it's not clear, like, is he the only person that can wield the glaive, or can anyone wield the glaive? Because like, was that lava that he had to put his hand through in order to pick up the glaive, was that like real lava that he didn't affect him, or was that like not real lava that wouldn't have affected anybody who would have like picked up the glaive? And so part of it is like that, but it kind of doesn't matter because like, that is such a small little detail that like the whole story is not even about like, you know, the little things that they have in there, the characters, because there's so much stuff that just comes and goes in the story that the thing that's constant is the main character, the monsters are cool, and it's a B movie. And it's like, you'll like it if you like B movies, and if you kind of like don't like B movies, which is understandable, not everyone likes them. That's why they have a cult following. And that's why like a lot of B movies like no one's heard of. You know, and then there's these movies like everyone's heard of, even if they're bad, people have heard of it. But there's B movies which they didn't, like, people haven't heard of it because it's low budget. It didn't have a lot of, like, it was never on, like, it was low budget, so they weren't able to put it in, like, every single, like, theater all over the world, right? So it never had that. It never had that happening for them. And so, because it was never in the theaters, or maybe it was on some theaters, people didn't hear about it because it was just low budget. So there was also not a lot of, like, advertising about it. And so, like, people didn't hear about it, and it came and went. And then, you know, you'll only be able to, like, really find this movie if you go into, like, the fantasy section of the, you know, the presently non-existent video stores, right? Back in the day, it was in video stores. So you were able to say, okay, I'll give this movie a try, because it was like, the videos were like $2, and you rent it for like a day or 2 or 3 days or whatever it is, and you bring it back. And it's like, you know, it doesn't really matter if you didn't like it that much, because it wasn't that expensive. It's like, and you know, you get to try it out. You get to say, I'll see if this is cool. Like, you don't know if you're gonna like it or not. And that's why, like, B movies are fun, but then they're not, like, not everyone likes it. Like Conan the Barbarian looked like a B movie, because at the time it looked like the movies that were coming out that were B movies. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger looked like a B movie actor, and it turned out to be a really good movie. Like, well made, well acted, well performed, well written, one of the best movies of all time. And people were just blown away. Like, if you remember the movie, the Flash Gordon movie and whatever, that was another one. It's like, it looked like, oh, this is a B movie, it's gonna suck. And then people were just blown away at how good it was. And so you just never know what, you know, like, if something looks like a B movie, is it really? This is really a B movie. It doesn't promise to really, like, rival the best movies out there or anything like that. But it's an adventure, it's fun, and if you've already seen all the good movies, why not look at some of the B movies? Because they're fun, and then you might like them, you know, because they're fun adventures. And it's just they just put a bunch of fantasy elements in this thing, and they try to pull it off, you know? They just really did. They put a bunch of fantasy elements. The glaive is like, it's not even certain whether it's magic or technology. I think it's magic. Because they don't really, like, explain anything. But there's nothing, like, it doesn't need an explanation. It's a simple quest. It's just an adventure. You know, you meet friends that go on the adventure with you. You find enemies or monsters that you have to defeat in order to get to your purpose. And then you save the day by, like, battling the beast that's trying to, like, you know, take the bride and whatever, trying to, like, destroy the planet and whatever. And, you know, that's what it is, and that's what this movie is. It's really cool. However, fun, I liked it, and a lot of people have been speaking really, really highly of it lately, and that's what made me think of it, because I thought, like, nobody else heard of this movie. No one else watched this movie. I was like, I was the only one that saw this movie or heard of it, or, like, even know it exists or whatever, or even think it's good, right? But I did recently, like, people just occasionally would say stuff on, like, social media. They would just, like, post, oh, remember Krull? That was that movie. It was you know, this was in it, you know, like, and people would just, like, make comments about Krull sometimes. I was like, you heard of that? Like, I don't think anyone heard of it. But anyway, you know, it was fun. I'm glad I was able to find the disc, because otherwise there's just no other way to see this movie. It's not available anywhere, you know? So yeah, have you guys seen this movie? If you haven't, you got to check it out. You might like it. I don't know if you'll like it, you know. I like it. I think it's cool. A lot of you like it. It's like a cult following B movie. I will call it a B movie. And yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thanks for watching the video. Like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in another video. Laters.